Well, let's go back to the very beginning. I want to know what the first big song was that really let us in Houston, Texas, and around the world know who Bill and Gloria Gaither were.
Well, He Touched Me.
Yeah, in all fairness, it had to be He Touched Me. We had written about, 50 songs before then, and I think had written some pretty nice songs. They just didn't have to be big. We wrote a song called In the Upper Room with Jesus.
That one didn't make it to Texas, I didn't.
That didn't make it to Texas? and then we wrote a song called Lovest Thou Me?
Yeah.
More than these, my child, what will your answer be? And some good songs. Doug Oldham sang a beautiful song that we wrote called Have You Had a Gethsemane? Have you prayed the night through? But probably He Touched Him, and then we wrote about 40 or 50 other songs. And about 54 or 55, that ought to be encouraging to young songwriters. Yeah. We wrote a song called He Touched Me. And Doug was the first person to take that song to the world.
So it was he made it big before Elvis did.
Oh, yes. And in fact, his dad suggested the title. It's still on our sheet music. He Touched Me, title suggested by Dale Oldham. He sang it, then the Imperials did it. Mm-hmm. The Spear family sang it.
I remember Dale said that there was something wonderful about the word touch.
Yeah.
That an almighty God would actually touch a human being, and thought there should be a song about that.
And it's been an important part of the vocal band's repertoire. In fact, we just sang it again recently on a Billy Graham crusade. So it's been a very important.
In fact, I have a letter upstairs that Bill wrote when the Imperials finally recorded that song and said, honey, we shouldn't have to be doing this traveling for maybe more than another year or two, because I just found out the Imperials recorded He Touched Me, and now, we can probably just stay home and write songs. That was 33 years ago.
Yeah.
Mark, here's where I used to play basketball as a kid on the old barn. See those 4 little holes up there? That's where the basketball goal was. And I'd play out here with neighborhood kids. But I tell you what, when you drove in real hard to the bucket, you better be real careful, because this was a sudden stop and you could get hurt pretty bad. But here's the old barn, so come on in.
Okay, where was the radio? Where were the cows? I've heard this story every night for 10 years. I want to know.
The cows would come in from there. That was their overnight lodging quarters. In there. We would have to put straw down so they'd have a warm place to sleep. And then we would throw down hay from upstairs in the mow in the manger, and they would eat there. Then they would come in here in the mornings. And this was like, remember, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, real cold mornings. And they've taken away the old stanchion, but you're standing right where the cow would face this way, put her head down in there and eat grain that we would throw down there. That would keep her busy while I turn on the old barn radio, and they would do that arpeggio. Boom, blah, 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 blah. Give the world a smile. Help things up, and that's the way it happened.
And you dream of singing with Hovie and Jake.
I would dream of singing with Jake and Hovie, and in fact, just smelling the old barn here brings back memories of me saying, one of these days I'm going to get out of here, and they're going to ask me to sing with them. And in fact, we would have corn in that field right through the window, and that was my field of dreams. I could just see Jake and Hovie and Chief coming out of those fields and say, hey, son, you want to join our group?
You build it, they will come. And you built it. If you could change one thing about your dad, what would it be?
Problem with that, I was afraid it'd be a domino effect, and then it'd change everything else, and then
Yeah,
he wouldn't be dad.
I don't think I would change much. I mean, he's dad. He's, it's just how he is.
He's weird.
He's very strange.
Yeah.
How's he weird?
He's just sort of not there a lot of times.
He's real complicated. I mean,
You think he has attention deficit disorder?
No.
No.
You don't
does
really?
it selective.
Yeah.
Selectively.
It's like he has a little bit of everything and then a little bit of nothing. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. It's
Because
real
his
strange.
concentration skills are phenomenal on whatever it is he's concentrating on.
What he wants to concentrate.
Yeah. We're all having a conversation. We're all eating. We're all engaged in each other. We're being a family. And he's over there just eating, not saying a word. And he hasn't said a word forever. And then just out of the blue, he'll say, Gloria, did you take care of that? We all stop and she says, what? And he'll go, the garden, the mulch.
And you weren't talking about mulch.
No.
Not anywhere near.
So it's autistic then.
He's like Rain Man, except he's no good at math.
Russ was new in the group, Todd.
That's a hard track.
That's a hard one. On It Is Finished, and Bill takes two verses up front instead of one. A lot of times on those songs we'll kind of parse it out between each verse and a different member.
But he owns the bus.
Yeah, he owns the bus, and he wanted both those. He wanted both those verses. And, so he's up on the front of stage, and we're back there. And Russ turns around to me and says, I don't really know my entrance. Can you tell me when to go?
Wrong thing to say. Just like, you totally have to come on.
And so Bill gets to the end of his first verse, which the lyric is,
Gain a man's soul or his loss.
and then Russ stands up on one side, and Bill puts his hand back. Not yet, Russ. And Bill keeps on going, and Russ turned around and said, "What was that?" And I looked at him like, "What'd you do? What'd you do?" Why would you do that? Totally messed up.
The It Is Finished track is a hard track because it's got that dum-dum-dum, dum-dum-dum-dum. But one night, I came in too early.
I got it tonight.
I'm not going to turn around and ask them. I've got this one.
I got this at night. There's a line that is drawn through the ages and line stands an old rugged cross, and there's about 10 more measures of music. Line stands an old rugged cross. And in my mind, I wanted to say, and I suggest you think about that for about
15 measures.
15 measures.
It was Marshall's turn to sing, and Marshall went.
But I guess the biggest thing was though the river song. Love it like a river. I don't know. I don't know what happened. We started out, everything was going great. We did the first verse, you get through the, down the river. Adam looked at me and I was like, the mighty Mississippi, Mississippi, Mississippi. David, and we looked like this. I
turned and looked, and you just had the panic on your face.
I couldn't stop laughing. I tried everything I could, but I just kept thinking the mighty Mississippi, Mississippi.
It rhymes with Mississippi, like Mississippi.